Hi guys, and welcome back to 100 Days to Zero Waste. This week, we focused on clothing and textiles, asking contestants to take a hard look at how they were buying and how they were disposing of the fabrics in their lives. We wanted them to make their fashion more sustainable by 1. Understanding the processes and complicated global supply chains by which the clothing they wear is often made. 2. Thinning out their closets and becoming more minimalist so they pay attention to everything that's there. And 3. Making a new thing or planning to make a new thing out of a fabric that they would have otherwise thrown away. But only 2 of our contestants completed the challenge this week. This goes to show, as we pass week 7, we come to terms with the realities of how difficult a challenge like this is to undertake. And make sure to remind ourselves that this is why we do a 100-day challenge instead of just trying to jump into it immediately. It's hard to show up all the time, and we need to forgive ourselves for the times that we can't. When they do show up, the contestants rock it. So let's take a look at what Sasha and Jen did. Jen this week shone with an in-depth closet clean out and really showed us how you can benefit from bringing your community into these challenges. Sasha, on the other hand, took a good hard look at the textile industry and really educated herself on the processes that are behind the clothes that are in her life. Four contestants in Providence, Rhode Island make the journey to declutter their lives and say goodbye to their trash cans. This is 100 Days to Zero Waste.
So what we're up to today in Jen Long's journey to zero waste is going through her closet to find out what clothes are wasting space and what clothes are wasting her time.
Okay, but first, before we do that, I'm going to step back a little bit and let everybody get a load of Megan Graham here and her awesomeness. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
And
all used clothing except my boots.
Awesome. And tell us a little bit about you.
I got into the used clothing business in Boston about 15 years ago, and I did it for a couple of years there. My skill was really in sorting and organizing. I didn't know that much about fashion or about style. I've certainly developed my own personal style, but I am not a stylist. I am very good at helping people let go of things and to make purchases that can be used in a variety of ways for a length of time. It's more about price per wear rather than whether something is expensive or inexpensive. The overall process, the first step in the process is to look at each item and decide whether or not it stays or goes or you're not sure. People are very surprised when we go through their closet to find out that they actually know what they want to get rid of, or 10%, 20%. They just haven't started because they think they have to do it perfectly, do it all at once. And as with anything new, the biggest key is to begin. So we're just going to start at the front of Jen's closet, and I'm going to start just showing her things. Is this a yes, no, or a maybe? And we're going to begin that way. Start alleviating some pressure by taking away the easy no's first. All right, so do you have any idea what's in here? I'm not going to open it right now.
Those are fabrics that
Okay.
belong to Colleen Ahalt, who moved to New Zealand, and I'm supposed to send those to her. So
Someday.
maybe it's time I sent them to her.
Okay, well, great.
Yeah.
We already know it's going.
Yeah, that's a nice jacket. I'll keep that.
Does it need to be in the plastic? Do you
No.
know?
No. That,
So
the fact that
wonderfully,
it's in the plastic has been hiding it from me, and I would have worn it a whole bunch if it had not been in the plastic.
got it. So wonderfully right now we have a local artist friend who is collecting lots of unrecyclable materials for some projects, and one of the things she needs is clear plastic bags with no print on them. So I'm going to save this dry cleaning bag to pass on to
Anna
my friend Anna Shapiro. Getting a good shout out.
Okay, this is sentimental nonsense, right? This is really
So
old.
it's still a maybe
It's a maybe.
because it's
Okay.
sentimental. So we have to go through it. We don't want to do too much of the emotional work right now.
Okay.
Because really what it comes down to is the attachment.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
You have the memory. You don't need the garment.
Okay.
Your memory is
Right.
right here.
No.
No,
This
I
is a
love it's a
no.
flat out no. So what I haven't surprised Jen with, scared Jen with yet, is that the yeses, we're then going to go through all the yeses at some point, and she has to feel 90% or better in it, or it goes. You only need a handful of functional, and everything else should make you feel
phenomenal
all the time.
Oh. So one of the things that was in my closet that we decided I wasn't going to wear anymore was a brown skirt with a beautiful border pattern. I have these old pillow forms that I just dug up the other day when I was cleaning my office. So I decided I'm going to make 2 pillows. Okay, so here's the skirt on. So here's the back of the pillow, the fabric. This was the slip from the inside of the dress, actually, because it was like a 2-layer thing. So it had this on the outside, and then it had its own slip liner. So this is the back. Super slippery, a little hard to sew it. And I had these old zippers laying around, so I even sewed a zipper in it, which works. It's just kind of hard to zip while you're trying to film.
Congrats to both contestants, Sasha and Jen, for being MVPs this week.
So, textiles and clothing are topics that are very near and dear to me, to my heart, and I'm just so sad that there's so little time to talk about it because it's something I could talk about for hours. And I'm also bummed out that I'm traveling this week, so I won't be able to tell you as much as I want to about textiles. When I was a little girl growing up in Kazakhstan, former Soviet Union, my mom used to embroider my clothes. There wasn't a great variety of clothing in the market, and she is an artist and has an eye for beautiful things, and she brought that beauty into my world with her hands. Fast forward several years ago, I guess now we're going on 7 years ago, I traveled to India with a really good friend of mine and to Sri Lanka, and we spent some time with within textile communities. We spent time with people for whom embroidery is an important way of life, and during that time I sort of reconnected with that part of my childhood and with the notion of how important textiles are as a form of storytelling and as a form of communication about who we are personally and as a civilization or as a culture or as a tribe to the rest of the world. I have something very special that I'm going to be reading on the plane. It's a zine that I ordered. It's called Loved Clothes Last. Ironically, it came with a lot of packaging that was not recyclable. So this is all about the textiles industry and how it's related to the environment and how our textiles industry is way oversaturated. The issues around agriculture and growing fibers and all the pesticide and fertilizer and clearance of land that's required to grow our fibers to mass-produce cheap clothing that we wear for a season or once in our lifetime and then discard. Only about 10% of the clothes we donate actually find a home. The rest either get recycled, which is, again, an energy-intensive process, or they go to the landfill.
As long as textiles are clean, dry, and odorless, they're all good enough to donate. Ripped, torn, stained, old-fashioned, it's all good. And feel free to use any of the clothing donation bins you see, whether in supermarket, parking lots, at public works and schools departments, at transfer stations, or at the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation.
I actually bought this scarf from people whose workshop I visited, and I saw them weaving, and they had music playing, and they were weaving on their looms like they were dancing, and they had such great spirit and energy, and and that spirit is somehow embodied in this thing that I bought. When I say I love life, and that's why I want to go zero waste, that's what I mean. That's what I love about life, and that's what I think is beautiful.
That's a wrap for another episode of 100 Days to Zero Waste. Please remember to like or subscribe if you like these videos. See you next time.